All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash.
Double honors to our elders and our apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and who rule well. Peace and salutations to our you sincere Akim that may tune in. All right, you sincere Akim that's pushing this truth and sincerity and honesty. All right, we're a few brothers from the GMS SF camp. Brother Shemayim.
Parathum.
I know, buddy.
Yatab Yawala.
And we just came together after camp, to continue to let the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai prosper. All right, his prophecies.
Khan. And right now, it may not seem like it, but, America and its so-called allies, America's not going to have any allies. All the allies that America is in league with right now, supporting monetarily wise, supporting military wise, and having these
they do trade with.
Yeah, basically
business
with. All these so-called allies, these so-called friends of America, they're all going to be coming against America, sooner or later. But I'm going to start with this. This is Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee.
Yep. And that's the times that we're living in now. All right. Because you can see America, all right, they're making executive orders going against their allies. And who are their allies? All right, the EU, all right, and and NATO, the European Union, all right. And America is pretty much going in their own way. They don't want to follow suit, all right, with the regulations which they're allied with the EU. All right, they're pretty much saying, nah, we're going to do our own thing. All right. You want to add anything out?
No, let me get this. Let me read on. It says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee.
Mm-hmm.
There is none understanding in them. It says, they that eat thy bread. What is that going into? That's going into America's, basically they're giving of money to these small countries, these funds that they have out to like Pakistan, they have out to these Middle Eastern countries. They give them grants, for lack of a better word, and to these European nations to help them militarily wise, in hopes that that they'll be able to build bases there, or if they ever need to call upon them, that country will help America. But it says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. So eventually, all that money that they put into these other nations' systems, in these other nations' military,
is going to be used
it's going to be used to backfire against them. Exactly. It's going to be used to destroy them.
Yep. And on top of that, America is going to do something to piss these other countries off. Because North Korea, Russia, China, they're already pissed off at America. North Korea is dead set on shooting nuclear missiles over here.
I think it just came out that Kim Jong-un, he said if America doesn't do something within a year, I think they said it's going to get hostile again.
Yep.
So all these talks that Trump had with Kim Jong-un, it was all bullshit.
Yep. But most importantly, Trump's own allies, he's going to piss off his own allies. And right now, when you look into the news, you can research it. Trump, he's putting tariffs on the EU. And those are supposed to be his allies,
Yep.
Turkey already pretty much turned on America. All right, they're pretty much joining forces with Russia.
Yeah.
All right, but yet the rest of the EU are pretty much mad at America because why America's putting tariffs on its own allies, man. All right, saying that the EU did America wrong. All right, well that's in return that's going to piss off these nations. All right, they're going to they're not going to be in alliance with America anymore, and in return, all right, they're gonna align with these other nations, all right, that hate America.
Yep. And there was an article that went out the other day that basically America wants all these countries that they have a base in to pay for them and to pay basically interest too, and all these countries are sooner or later gonna find out, what are you even here? We don't need you, because America has this facade that it's like the world's security force,
the hammer of the earth. How's the hammer of the earth broken asunder?
Yeah, and so all these countries are soon gonna realize, hey, they don't need America. They're gonna all these countries are gonna, and once they get nukes, because most of them have nukes already. What they're gonna say? Hey, we got nukes too. You know.
Let the weak say I'm strong, pertaining to Joel the 3rd chapter, but you got it out.
I got Joel the 3rd chapter right here. So real quick, I'm just gonna say, because here at Great Millstone, we see the writing on the wall. We see that World War III is gonna come because we see all these other heathen nations and they're preparing for war. So real quick, this is Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles: prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
Yep.
Let the weak say I'm strong.
Yep, because these nations, they're not what you, when you look into the news, all right, you can do your own research, which is out there, yet the majority of the people here in America and Babylon, they're pretty much, being engulfed with bread and circus. All right, they're not looking at what's really on the horizon. And what's on the horizon is America's demise, World War III. All right, but people don't look into this stuff. All right. But the men of the Lord is set up to bring these prophecies on the forefront, or make it plain upon tables, so he that readeth it may run. All right. So these other nations, they're beating their plowshares and the pruning hooks, all right, meaning that they're not putting their money in agriculture. All right, they're taking their resources and all the money that they get, and they're putting into buying more vehicles. All right, more artillery, more missiles.
And what are the majority? Slaki, where are the majority of these? Where are these countries getting the money from? America, like we just read in the prior verse.
Yeah, doing business.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to name a few of these, contenders for World War III, number one, Japan is getting their military back. Yep. Number two, the residents of Germany are starting to get radicalized and starting to become, so-called neo-Nazis. Mm-hmm. And number three, North Korea's got not North Korea, but is it Pakistan with the nuclear deal that happened a few years ago?
Yeah, that was Pakistan.
Yeah, so
Oh no, that was Iran.
Iran. Yeah.
Yep, Iran.
Yeah, so there's a big powder keg, and it's waiting to blow up.
Yep. And on top of that, read that one more time. It says, "Look, the weak say I'm strong." So now all these nations are capable of nuclear warfare now. All right. Yep. So they you push the button, we can push the button too.
Yep. So exactly, and all they need is one nuke, and that can cause catastrophic damage.
Yep. Yeah, we're not talking about atomic. Bombs. These are nuclear missiles, something that the world have never seen before.
Intercontinental.
Yep.
I don't know how to pronounce
ICBMs.
ICBMs.
Mm-hmm.
Intercontinental ballistic missile.
You got it out.
All right, so I'm gonna read verse 10 again. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Mm-hmm. Let the weak say, I am strong." And verse 11 says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh."
Yep, and that's when they gather into the valley of Hawashaphat. Yep. They're in the Middle East. All right. Could Jake get that one? All ye that bend the bow. I believe it's in. Let me see real quick. Where it says, "Spare no arrows."
Let's continue on. So verse 12 it says, "Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about."
Yep.
And there's no coincidence that's pretty much the battlefield. Like that's the board game, so-called, for World War III is the Middle East, because all the nations are gonna go there because they're pretty much already there.
They're already there. Yep. They're pretty much.
And the tensions with so-called Israel. Those so-called Jews, Amalekites, and in those Middle Eastern countries, because the wars and the strife that's going on over there, the scripture says that the least of them shall
shall draw out. The least of them should draw out.
The least of the flock.
Yep.
Basically, Israel is going to draw America into that war.
Mm-hmm.
Because America's an ally to Israel, one of their biggest allies.
Yeah, one of their biggest ones. Which that land of Israel is going to get hit with a nuclear missile too.
Yeah, that illegitimate state of Israel only exists because of the whore of Babylon, which is America.
But yeah, let me get this precept. This is Jeremiah 50:14. It says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Yep, and that's the destiny of America, to be destroyed with 200 million nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
All
And, and it says, Salak, and it says, all ye that bend the bow.
Yep.
So that bow is talking about those nuclear silos, those nuclear submarines, basically everything that can shoot off a nuke. And it says, all ye that bend the bow. So everyone that's capable, who has nukes, is going to shoot at America.
Including the EU.
Yep.
So that's what the Lord said. All ye that bend the bow. So the EU, all right, the NATO or North Korea, all these nations are going to turn against Babylon the Great, which aka America. All right, I want to get Revelation 17 and 16 to further prove that. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," which that 10 horns represents power. All right.
It also represents the EU, those 10 horns.
Because, at the beginning of the EU, it was only like about 10 nations who formed it.
So the 10 horns or the 10 powers, that's talking about the EU nations. All right. It says, which thou sawest upon the beast, or the beast being a revitalized Roman Empire, NATO, EU, all right, and America is a part of that. But we're living in that time where the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore. The whore being in America. It says, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, so that's all ye that been above. All these nations that got nuclear missiles, the EU, they're gonna shoot their missiles upon America, burn her with fire.
And you wouldn't think that because NATO, America's in NATO, so they're quote unquote allies right now. But there's gonna come a time where these nations are all gonna come against America. It's prophecy. It's just true.
You can see that's where the direction is headed.
It's written on the wall.
Because America, the scriptures speak about, I believe it's in the book of Daniel, where it says his look was more stout than his fellows, and that's America. All right, the pride of America. Because right now, America, they got their hands in everything. And other people's lands. All right, down there in Venezuela. All right, down there in the Middle East. All right, these nations are fed up with America's BS, man.
And Trump thinks he can do all these tariffs, all these sanctions on all these countries, and there's not going to be any repercussions. Eventually there's going to come a time where these nations are just going to be fed up with it, and they're fully going to just cut off America. Cut off because America is a import nation. So they really thrive on importing from all these other countries. So now what if China decides just to cut all their exports to America? America be through, because we rely upon these nations.
The American economy will collapse, all right? Exactly. Which is going to actually, according to biblical prophecy. It tell you that in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. All right, this economy is all jacked up, all right? Trump is just making things worse. And that's going to, look how many jobs are closing. Like thousands, like 5,000 jobs and businesses are like packing up.
Retail apocalypse.
Yep. What's that's going to lead to? That's the grinding ceasing.
Which, the White House in this society, the media, tries to basically hide the fact because they give you the information that the economy is doing good. It's booming. What do they say? They say, what is it called?
The unemployment rate is at the
lowest it's ever been. But yet you have retail apocalypse. You have people, on doing Uber and Lyft, working 3 jobs. Why did they have to just pass that bill?
Paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, living paycheck to paycheck. Why did they have to pass that bill for the students to live on campuses because they got nowhere to live? They can't afford housing. Does that make any sense? Some numbers are being made up.
It's actually worse than what they say it is.
Yep.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and 5. Yet also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, and that's going into Esau, Edom. All right, the so-called white man, which he's in rulership in the earth. All right, he's ruling Babylon the Great. That's the spearhead of the New World Order. All right.
Yep.
And through their wickedness, through the wine and the philosophies of America, all right, feminism, all right, transgenderism, homosexuality, all right, through that wine, all right, he transgressed it, all right.
Yep. And it says, neither keepeth at home.
You got it.
America has all these, all its influence in all these different countries. That's why it has these military bases
everywhere.
Exactly, and that's what comes with that is a hand in their government. You know, you see what they're trying to do in Venezuela right now. You know, trying to put up their puppet. What's his name? Guaido or something like that. You know, they're trying to overthrow Maduro. I think.
Yeah, because they pretty much the only reason why they're down there in Venezuela is because they want the resources.
Yep.
You know, like the elder Quan Waf said, you know, they pretty much they want the oil because they're getting ready for World War III.
Yep.
So they need resources, so they got to go into Venezuela and occupy that.
Yeah.
And all these countries are they're not in darkness anymore. They know that America's trying to do this. You know, and they're getting fed up with it.
You got it, Doc.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, slow.
But I'll read this precept in Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. You know, it's because you know the Babylon is going around all over the world, spreading its wicked philosophies, and like that's just more icing on the cake for why these nations are going to go against the whore of Babylon.
Yep. Yep, because even these heathen nations, they have some sort of order, you know, and some sort of you know, what is it, like a
traditional?
Yeah, traditional. They got their own laws set up, and when America comes in, they basically try and, you know,
cast off their traditional
exactly.
ways.
They try and go in a different way, and basically disregard any laws that they have.
They try to westernize everybody.
Exactly.
You know, which that's wicked. You know, see in these Middle Eastern nations, you see they women they're all covered up, which that's actually righteous. You know, women is supposed to be covered up, but here Esau, he wants to promote feminism, and now the women over there, they're throwing off their what do you call them, hijabs or whatever they hijabs. They're throwing that off. All right, they're twerking now,
smoking weed and doing the most.
Because why? Because of the wine of Babylon.
Yep,
all right,
that influence.
Which is why Yahweh Shemal Shah is going to destroy this place, because you know you're going up against the Heavenly Father ultimately.
Yeah,
right, spreading wickedness in the earth.
Yeah, if you could just picture, if you go to some guy's house and you go to his daughter and you trick her out, you know, how mad would that dad would be?
Yep. And really that woman represents Israel.
Yep.
All right, because Esau, Edom, he touched the apple of the Lord's eye. You know, and we're a woman unto Yahweh Shai. All right. We're that bride that's being adorned, which really that goes into the elect, you know. But ultimately, the whole nation of Israel is the Lord's, all right? And Esau, his philosophy, will tell you that in the same chapter, Habakkuk, all right? It tell you that Esau's, his wine, he's giving it into our people. All right, now our people is all bugged out, you know, committing all kind of wickedness. All right, and it's because that Esau gives our people a license to sin. So Yahweh Shemal Shai has to come back and destroy the wicked and set up his new rulership. And those that are going to be you know, ruling in that first 1,000-year period with Yahweh Shai are going to be the elect, those that come back first, that seek Yahweh Shemal Shai 10 times more. All right, that sighing and crying for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. You got precept?
No, well, I was gonna say too, because you know, once the kingdom is established, there's not gonna be a need for wars, because there's no.
It tell you that in the scriptures.
Because you know the scripture says that all these heathens round about, they're gonna beat their shovels and hooks into weapons, but then it's gonna reverse, and they're gonna get all their weapons and turn those into tools.
Yeah, I got it right here, Isaiah 2:4. I might just read up a little bit. I'm going to start at 3. Isaiah 2:3. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the Most High of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So when the kingdom of heaven is established, all right, the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect, they're going to be administering the laws of Yahweh Shemal Shai. All right, and these other nations, they're going to be forced to follow our laws, and if they go off, they're going to be judged accordingly. All right. Verse 4, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords and the plowshares, like the Ak was going into. He was verbatim quoting, Salaki, roughly paraphrasing, quoting the scripture, Isaiah 2 and 4. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords and the plowshares and their spears and their pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So during the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be complete peace. Why? Because Jacob is going to completely take over. All right, it ain't going to be no need for war. These other nations, they're not going to be getting up their military or setting up their military to go try to overthrow Israel. All right, they're going to be completely in subjection underneath the nation of Israel. All right, why? Because first and foremost, we're going to have new angelic bodies. All right, and we're going to be the governors of the earth. All right, you can't go up against a chariot, a so-called UFO. All right, you can't. And then on top of that, we're going to have the angels all around us. All right, the angels of the Lord. So these other nations are not going to even think about, gathering, getting a militia and try to go against the nation of Israel.
We're going to have those spiritual powers.
Yep.
We're going to be spiritual bodies, spiritual powers,
And that's the new world to come. All right, when Yahushua comes back. All right, that's why we're waiting on Yahushua. But before he comes back, it's going to be great tribulation. All right. And then America is going to be destroyed with 200 million nuclear missiles in World War III. Simultaneously, Yahushua is going to come back in the midst of those missiles being shot off. And he's going to deliver the elect in those chariots. You got it.
So, real quick, I'm going to read this precept in Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. It's because one reason why wars happen in the world is because the wicked are in rule.
Yep, so Esau. They tell you that in First Maccabees. They tell you that, pretty much when Esau got into...
evils increased.
Yeah, in power, evils increased in the earth.
Yep.
You got it up.
That was it. I was going to pull that in Maccabees.
Yeah. Read that again.
This is Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall.
Yep, the righteous shall see their fall. And it tells you who the wicked is in Malachi, the first chapter.
Yep, the border of wickedness.
Yep.
Everywhere they go.
Everywhere they go, they do complete abomination, wickedness. All right. But the righteous shall see their fall. All right. The elect, they're actually going to get beamed up in those chariots, and they're going to look down upon America while it's being consumed with fire. All right. Other parts of the world getting hit with nukes. All right. That land of Israel getting hit. All right. And then after that, that fire, dies down, the elect, they're going to come up out of those chariots and they're going to proceed to take over the earth.
Did you have a precept by now?
Yeah, This Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
And right now, the people's mourning. All right, everybody on the earth is mourning. Even the earth itself. Animals, the trees, all right, everything is mourning because the wicked is in rulership. Tell you that in Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, but once the nation of Israel gets into power, all right, that's when the kingdom of heaven, that's when everybody's gonna be living in paradise. You got it out. You're tired.
I was just gonna say, that's one of the reasons why there's not gonna be any war.
Yeah.
There's not going to be no contention. There's not going to be no strife. These nations, like it says, in the verse you read, they're going to come up to Israel to learn. What are they going to learn? Pure righteousness, how to really serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to the best of their abilities, because they're still going to be heathen, yet they're going to know and they're going to be given the chance to live, which is following those laws, statutes, and commandments, because that is life. They're not going to be living that death style under Esau.
Yeah, and then them being mortals and Israel being immortals, the heathens, of course, they're going to go off. All right, they're going to transgress against the law. But then that's where the nation of Israel is going to come and bring the judgment, So it's not going to get too far out of hand where they're going to get, millions of people and they're going to get an army and they're going to build tanks. Nah, it's not going to be like that, in the kingdom of heaven.
Yep.
You got it out.
Well, I'm going to bring out this precept. This is St. Matthew's 24:6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
Could you start up at 4, Baba Gashal?
So it's St. Matthew's 24:4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many.
Yep, because the disciples of Yahushua, they asked him, what shall be the end of the world, all right, and the sign of thy coming, or which we're living in the end of the world now, all right? And Yahushua, he said, pretty much that there was going to be many false prophets, those that are claiming to come in my name, but they're not, all right? And you got the Roman Catholic Church, Jehovah Wickedness, all right, the Christian Church, all right, even those of the circumcision.
Islam.
Yep, Islam. All right. Then you got those that know that they're Israelite, yet they're still leading, all right, the sheep astray. You got it out.
That's verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Yep.
See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Yep. And that just shows you the time we're in. All right. We're close to the end. All right. It says wars and rumors of war, and that's all you hear.
Because that's the writing on the wall. You turn on the TV, they're not saying World War III, but you can see it coming. All right, so this is verse.
Why else did Trump get rid of the nuclear treaty?
Exactly.
Why is he building up his nuclear arsenal?
Why are these other nations building up? Why is Kim Jong Un testing his nuclear missiles?
Yeah. Why did Saudi? What is it? I think it was
Saudi or Iran,
Saudi Arabia or Syria. One of those countries. They just started to get nukes. Started to make nukes. Why?
I know India got nukes.
Yeah.
And they're over there causing trouble with Pakistan, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdoms against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Yep, and that's what's happening. Earthquakes in diverse places. All right, brothers got the earthquake app. All right, there's earthquakes happening all the time, man. Yeah. And that never used to happen. But here we are in the end times, and now there's earthquakes after earthquakes. And, we're still waiting on that big earthquake, man. All right, that big earthquake that's going to devastate San Francisco, all right, in California.
And much needed.
Yep. So, we're definitely living in that season where Yahushua is going to make his great return.
And America is just going to be destroyed,
Yeah, America going to be destroyed, man, because America has striven against the Most High.
But main reason is because the Hebrew Israelites dwelled on this land, and then the red Hebrew Edomite came over here and started slaughtering them, and so this land is defiled by blood, and the only way to cleanse that is by blood.
Shed it.
So there's no reason that America is this like God-fearing country, because it's contrary to the scriptures.
Quick precept. This is Luke 21:28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. All right. So when these prophecies are the things that are written begin to come to pass, you're supposed to look up. All right. Yeah. You're supposed to keep your eyes open, keep your eyes single. All right, on salvation and doing the things that's necessary to be delivered from the said perils. All right, delivered from that second death, which is that nuclear destruction. All right.
Because World War III, that's good news for the Hebrew Israelites, the hopeful elect. But that's bad news for everybody else outside of this.
Yeah.
Yep, because there is going to be a remnant that gets delivered from that. All right. The scriptures, it tell you in the Apocrypha, tell you that they shall be amazed by the strangeness of their salvation. All right, because Jake is going to get beamed up into those chariots, the elect. All right, and then all these heathens or Esau, they're going to be looking, and they're going to be looking surprised because the nuclear missiles is going to be going down at the same time, and they're going to be like, these are the Israelites. He's the chosen one of the Most High. All right, these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. All right, they're going to be bugging out because, all right, they've been oppressing us this whole time, looking down on us. Yet we're the children of it. We're the Yashala, the Prince of the Power,
and we're in this poor state, So everybody doesn't think we're gonna come out of this, Yeah,
because a good way to identify who is a Hebrew Israelite is who's got this curses on them.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's all the tribes, Judah all the way down to Issachar, so-called Mexicans, all the way up to the so-called Negroes. I'm gonna finish this out, Luke 21:28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So right now we're living in a time where Yahweh Shai is coming back. All right, our redemption draweth nigh. All right, all we got to do is patiently wait upon Yahweh Shema Shai. You got it. You found that precept?
Law.
Yeah. All we have to do is patiently wait on Yahweh Shema Shai.
Yep. And now is that time. That's why the scripture says, for our salvation is nearer than when we believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's now, because we're seeing the signs. The signs they're coming to life. The prophecies, and we know that we're in this time that's spoken of in the Bible.
Yep. I got James 5:7 for you. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh.
Yep. And being patient is suffering. And we have to be patient. There's still other prophecies that have to come to light. Like it says in the scripture that we just read prior, it says this shall be the beginning of sorrows. The beginning of the end times.
Well, the biggest prophecy that needs to come to pass is the RFID being made mandatory, which the RFID chip is indeed the mark of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
Once that chip is made mandatory, that's like the last major prophecy before Yahweh Shai comes back.
Yep.
Yeah, and so any Hebrew Israelites that are in the army, just prepare to get out of it and try not to get in World War III, because once that RFID microchip is established and everybody has to take it, like you can't be in World War III without that chip. So I just advise to any brothers who are in the army listening to this, is look for your way out, righteously. Get that
You gotta
honorable.
go to Yahweh Shema Shai.
Yeah, you gotta
He'll
pray
make a
for
way.
him. He'll give you that honorable discharge.
Yep.
And going back to scripture, having patience, that's why the scripture says, though it tarry, wait for it, it will not tarry. Even though it seems like, it's taking a long time, we're suffering, we got to go through the trials and tribulations. It's not gonna be as long as we think.
Nah, it's gonna be fast.
Yep.
Because first and foremost, it tell you, I believe in Matthew's the 24th chapter, the Lord's speeding up the times.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, the days are cut short.
Yep.
So that's why the scriptures say establish your hearts. In James 5:8, it says, be ye also patient, establish your hearts. And that word heart goes into the Hebrew word lab, meaning mind. All right, so you got to get your mind ready for the tribulation, all right, to be able to endure. Isaiah 33:6, it tell you that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. You got it.
I'll go ahead and read it out. It's Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is his treasure.
Yep. And that's how you establish your mind, establish your heart. All right, is dwelling in the secret place of Yahweh Shema Shai, which is this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right, having faith upon Yahweh Shema Shai. That's how you're going to be able to withstand in that evil day. All right, if the Lord has his hedge of protection around you, and it tell you that the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that fear the Lord. All right, so if you fear Yahweh Shema Shai, which the fear of the Lord is his treasure, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is going to be the stability, the strength of your salvation. All right, and keep you stable in that day. You got it.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into Isaiah 34:1. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken. Ye people, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He that utterly destroyeth them, he shall deliver them to the slaughter. It's because Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, he's the one who's moving the chess pieces. So he's the one who dictates who becomes president. He's the one who dictates who becomes a general, to the smallest increment of what happens in reality. So he's moving all these chess pieces to the Valley of Yehoshaphat because he wants to show his power. Once World War III is kicking off, he's gonna go in there and then just wipe it all clean.
The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
Yep. So when these prophecies go to pass, you're gonna know that the Lord's prophets told you about it. When all hell break loose, all right, the pestilence, disease, all right, who's the one that's been screaming the prophecies, all right? Who is the mouthpiece of the Lord? Well, it's going to be evident, all right, who the real men of the Lord are going to be. All right, when the RFID chip is made mandatory, all right, we told you that it's the RFID chip, it's the mark of the beast. All right, these other pseudo Israelite groups, they don't even speak about the RFID chip.
And if they do, like Mr. Farrakhan, they're completely off on it.
Yeah.
They threw the dart and they didn't even hit the target. They hit the wall.
Yeah. You got it.
All right, so as verse 3 it says, their slain also shall be cast out, as their stinks shall come upon out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. You know, in verse 4 right here, it speaks about, you know, after World War III, those nukes are going to come. So it says right here in verse 4, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll.
Yeah, that's the mushroom cloud from the nuclear missiles. Go ahead.
And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
Yep. And America's going to be that chief place that get hit with nuclear missiles. You know, World War III. And then Yahweh Shai is going to make his return. And then the angels, they're going to make war with those armies in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. All right? In the valley of the Lord's judgment. All right? The chariots, they're going to be getting busy with the armies of the earth. And guess what? Yahweh Shai is going to prevail. All right? Because Yahweh Shai, well, I'm going to get it real quick through spirit. It tell you that on his head was many crowns. Revelations 19:12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his heads were many crowns. All right, and that's the point. On his head were many crowns. So he's going to take down the rulerships of all these nations, not just Edom. All right, which Edom, they're the chief wicked, they're the chief heathens, but also these other heathen nations like Moab. All right, you know, Elam, these other nations. All right, that are.
Because all of those nations, those heathen nations, had a hand in taking us, the Hebrew Israelites, down.
Exactly.
And that's why he's taking those crowns from them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be put in their rightful place
As servants and slaves
Yep.
unto the nation of Israel.
It sounds rough now, but they're actually going to love it.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's why it says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
The only one that's going to hate it is Esau, because he's going to be exterminated.
Mm-hmm.
He can't get right. You know, at least the other heathen nations, they're going to have their lands. You know, they're going to be serving us.
They're going to have a reason to exist.
Yeah. But Esau, he's just going to be exterminated after 1,000 years, so-called white man.
Yep.
All right, you got it.
Well, I got this in 2nd Ezra 13:8. You know, because this is talking about during World War III. You know, and then Yahweh Shai is going to come in with all his chariots, and he's just going to wipe the state clean. Mm-hmm. So this is 2nd Ezra 13:8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together, and all those people that are gathered together are those people that are going to partake in World War III.
Yep.
It says they were gathered together to subdue him, were sore afraid. You know, because they're going to see Yahweh Shai and all those chariots. Because at 1 second they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
But then once they see those chariots,
they're all like, we got to team up to fight the chariots. You know, the so-called spaceships.
Yeah, and of course they're gonna be afraid because you know, like you can see it in movies, like what's the one, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Like they pretty much had nothing to do to compete with those UFOs in the movie.
Yet the Most High is gonna put the spirit on them to fight them anyway, to fight the Lord anyway.
Yeah, and continue on. It says.
Oh, my bad. And then Ronald Reagan say, you know, if an enemy came down, you know, wouldn't we all put away our differences, you know, to come together and fight against them?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they're going to do when Yahweh Shai shows up with the angels.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
See, Esau knows these things too, you know. That's why there's no coincidence why he's setting up this Space Force. You know, they're going to be trying to fight these so-called UFOs, which are the chariots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Ronald Reagan said that straight out of the scriptures. You know, because, you know, Ronald Reagan was a Republican, this and that.
Okay.
You know, but he was a wicked Edomite. So I'm going to continue on. It says, and yet durst fight, you know, because Yahweh Shai, he's going to put the spirit in him to fight. Because he's not just going to go and, you know, kill a whole bunch of people who are ready to die. He's going to want to kill them while they're at their so-called best. So he can establish his, it's like, I forget the word, like his strength.
Yeah, you're going to know the power of the Lord. Especially because one chariot could destroy the whole earth. But Yahweh Shai, he's going to come back with an innumerable amount of chariots. So the gravity of the power that's about to be shown, all right, the gravity of it is going to be like, man, you can't even put a number on it.
Yeah.
Infinite power. All right, Yahweh Shai is coming back with infinite power, all right, to take back what's his, which is the earth. and the people in the earth. But this is Revelations 12:7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Yeah, and that's not talking about Satan, you know, and the demons fighting against the Most High and his angels. You know,
that's what the Christians are telling you.
Exactly. That's not what the scriptures are talking about. They're talking about, you know, Yahweh Shai and the angels fighting against Esau, which is the so-called white man, you know, and his army,
his space force,
his quote-unquote space force.
I'm pretty sure it's the Air Force. You know, I used to be in the Army.
The Air Force too.
And the whole Space Force, it's really just the Air Force, because the Air Force used to be part of the Army. Then they branched themselves off to be just all planes. So that's pretty much what it is.
And that's what it is. Yahweh Shai is going to come back with the chariots, so-called UFOs, and they're going to fight against Esau's army, his Space Force, Air Force. And the Air Force is going to lose horribly. You know, that's why it says, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. You know, and the dragon, that's the revitalized Roman Empire, NATO, the EU, all right, America. All right, their armies, they're going to team up again, you know, back up again to fight Yahweh Shai, and they're going to lose. Their angels being their you know, their vehicles, what are the fighter jets?
Yeah, like,
you know,
you know, I can know the fighter jets, all that stuff. Their tanks even.
Verse 8, and prevail not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. So Esau's going to lose his rulership after that. You know, and these other heathen nations with they got their own countries. They're going to lose that. You know, verse 9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, and that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which is speaking about these Edomites, which deceiveth the whole world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered up the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? Talking about you red Hebrew Edomites. It says, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right. So yeah, man, Esau, this is the end of your rulership, pretty much.
Yep.
You know, you're not gonna be able to do no more folly in the earth no more. All right. And by when Yahweh Shai comes back to make war, America's gonna be on fire. You know, the earth's gonna be rocking to and fro. All right, the elect are gonna get delivered in the midst of all this, because Yahweh Bashmal Shai, you know, he loves to make things dramatic. You know, and this is gonna be very intense. It's gonna be high octane. You know, if I said that right. All right, so that's why you got to establish your minds. You know, get your mind ready and soak up this oil. All right. So
while it's here, while it's readily available.
Exactly.
You know,
this oil is gonna make you ready for the wedding. You know, which is to be joined unto Yahweh through Yahweh Shai when he comes back.
You gotta make sure you're wearing your wedding garments.
Which represents, you know, the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai.
Yeah, this is the grace time, the grace period where you get those wedding garments and you clean them as best you can to make them as perfect as you can.
As presentable. You know, and his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to be the only thing that's going to keep you stable mentally, all right, in that time. All right.
Come on.
So I believe, you know, through spirit, you know, we're going to close out. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. Peace and salutations to the hopefully elect. Shalom.
Shalom.
It's World War III soon.